What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Menu TV Reviews. I am your host, Mel, and tonight we're going to be discussing the Rainmaker. That's right, y'all. This is season 1, episode 4, titled Episode 4. I hope you guys have had a wonderful day, y'all. Of course, we're still honoring the people that we lost, remembering the loved ones that people lost during the 9/11 terrorist attacks 24 years ago. Wow. It don't even seem like it's been that long, y'all. It's crazy. But I hope you guys have been doing well. Without further ado, let's go ahead, get into the synopsis real quick, and then we're going to get right into the episode. So the synopsis for this one is: when Sarah reveals a detail about the case, Rudy must choose between his client and his girlfriend. Now, I don't even know why they put that as a synopsis, because y'all already know what he finna do. It's Rudy. Okay? He is a man of integrity. So we already know where this is headed, right? It was just a matter of time before they were going to part ways. Maybe. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this episode starts off with a meeting that happened to take place prior to Jackie getting snatched. All right. She ended up having a meeting with the VP of Quality Assurance. And she was expecting to meet with another guy, but instead this guy popped up and he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I mean, I can handle it. I'm more than capable of addressing your concerns." But for me, her antennas, they up there. They should be up there. She should be on very high alert, okay? Because somebody is trying to kill you, girl. Somebody is after you. Now, when she started talking to this dude, I was like, you know what? He probably the reason that she got snatched. I don't know. The jury is still out on that one, but I got my eye on him. So he ended up asking her, and this is what really made me suspicious. He ended up asking her if anybody else had seen the info that she had written in her report, right? And she mentions telling the committee, but that's it. She ain't tell nobody else yet. Now, she then brings up the fact that she believes her life is truly in danger because she's scared of Melvin. Speaking of, he's trying to get her to come to at the cabin, but she is yet to wake up. Now, for her sake, I really hoped that she was playing dead to try to get away later, but that's not what that was. She was truly out, y'all. So Sarah comes to see Rudy at the bar, and she brings up Hank, right? Y'all know his mama's boyfriend who took off in the middle of the night because he got pissed, or he took off. He took off, all right, because he was pissed. Him and Rudy had got to arguing, and she was like, "Yeah, I told that fool to leave and not come back." She just tired. Mama is tired. And so she brings up Hank not returning just yet, which opens the door for him to bring up a comment about Jackie and Melvin going MIA after being let go by the hospital, coincidentally. Now, while work is supposed to be off limits between the two of them, that did not stop her from matching his energy. Okay, listen, Rudy was like, "I'm going to put it out there on the table and I'm going to see what you do with it." She was like, "Oh, I saw what you did and I'm going to raise you. I'm raising the stakes." And y'all, she matched his energy, and she was just like, "You know what? The hospital was downsized and that's why they were let go." And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's real coincidental, huh? Both of them went missing and one of them just happened to be taking care of my patient. That's real crazy, huh?" And so then she ends up putting her foot in her mouth because she mentions that Jackie was such a model nurse. There was no way that she could have been doing any type of wrongdoings because they had her on what's called the tissue committee. So she quickly realizes her mistake, but he now wants to know the whole story with that because that could be seen as withholding information. Oh, girl, that's real relevant to this case. That's real pertinent information. Why y'all ain't told us nothing about that in Discovery, huh? But see, she tells him that if he brings it up, that could result in her being fired from her firm. Well, baby, loose lips sink ships. And apparently yours just got hit with a whole bunch of cannonballs. So you might as well go ahead and get ready. But I was like, if it's that detrimental to Don's health, you literally just got out of law school and just passed the bar. And you still trying to be all mums the word about some shady shenanigans that your boss is trying to keep from the other people? When you literally went to go visit with his mama and you felt bad about it. But now all of a sudden, okay. Because now I'm finna start looking at you sideways. Because, girl, where's your integrity? You ain't been a lawyer for all of 5 minutes and you already crooked. So she begs for him to keep quiet. And in this instance, what would y'all do? I would probably give him all the information after we won this case, baby. I'd be like, okay, I'm leaving that place and we can split this money. We can split the money from this and Bruiser can hire me on and we can get some more money together. Because the two of us together, we could be unstoppable. But why are you trying to work against him? Especially when you not right. That's just, I couldn't be a lawyer, y'all. I couldn't. How long they been together? Now, back at the office, Leo gives the hospital CEO Bruiser's offer of $80 million. Y'all remember in the last episode that they had met up secretly and she was like, okay, you tell your guy to settle this case for $80 million and, you know, I'll figure something else. I forgot what her end of the bargain was. It was something about the FBI. So at first he seemed like he was going to consider it, right? Talking about the CEO. And then he gets pissed telling Leo that he don't care what he got to do. Okay, you and your hair plugs better figure something out. I was like, damn, not the hair plugs catching the stray. Leo said they was his, though. These mine. Damn, black man, why you always trying to be so prideful? See, it's the pride before the fall. $80 million? Y'all know it's got to be some dirt for him to even consider it. You listen, you should have just went ahead and gone ahead and took that. Now over the river and through the woods, Jackie finally comes to, okay? She wake up and she like, where am I? And Melvin was like, oh, my bad, girl. I totally misjudged your weight. What you trying to say, Melvin? What you trying to say? You better be quiet. So he gives her the unfortunate news that because she's been so hard to track down, he's been having to camp outside of her ex's house and her house. Now, because she wasn't showing up to her house, but her nosy neighbor never stopped to, she never stopped hounding him about why he was coming over so often or why he kept popping up, this random stranger keep popping up to Jackie's house. What you got going on? He had to put her down. So she was like, oh no, not old Myrtle, not Miss Myrtle. That's not her name, y'all. It's something else. But just know that he told her that her nosy neighbor was dead. So we found out that he's got her holed up at some old summer camp. And he brings up the fact that they used to give the kids these anti-venom kits when they used to go on these long hikes because of snakes, right? Just in case. And so he ends up threatening to use it on her if she don't get to talking and telling him who she snitched him out to. Now, over to Rudy. Rudy ends up running into Crazy Cliff. You know, the crazy husband from the girl that he liked but he can't talk to. Yeah, him, the husband. So he ends up running into Crazy Cliff from down the hall as he's entering the building, right? And so he needs to see what he can do about him because honestly, dude is irking as hell. Can you not, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess it really ain't nothing for him to do right now until something happens, but yeah. In the meantime, he tries to do a little bit of research on the tissue committee at his house, right? So it turns out it's a board for quality assurance and accountability, so it's kind of like HR adjacent. Okay? He can't focus though, so he ends up going over to check on Kelly, who is the girl across the way that he has a crush on, right? And she warns him, hey, you don't need to be coming over here. Don't come back. Thank you for, being concerned about me and my well-being. But if he see you over here. And so he was like, does he know where you go at night? Like, does he know what you do? And so based off her response that she gives Rudy, we can infer that Cliff has no clue. He is not aware of the work that she does. Hell, he might not even know that she works at all at night, okay? But she does, like I said, thank him for being concerned about her, and she closes the door on her, okay? Now, instead of heading back home, he actually goes to the office where Deck is paying a guy named Butch. I was about to call him Bruno, y'all, but that's on Wednesday. Go check out those reviews if you haven't already. Shameless plug, y'all. I'm sorry. So, he's got this guy named Butch sweeping the place for bugs because, you know, the FBI had came up in their spot, you know, to stop by with some muffins a few days ago. Okay. So you can never be too safe, right? Now, he ends up telling him about the latest development in the case, and they immediately get to work trying to figure out this whole tissue committee thing. So they stay there till the morning, and y'all, they are dog tired, okay? They have passed out, and Bruiser come in, and she looked like she done had a long night herself, okay? But them locks, the hair is in place. It is together. But she looked like she might need to take a whole bath before she clock in. Okay, she looked like she hadn't had one of them nights. So they tell her about the tissue committee and how it basically investigates deaths and complex cases at the hospital. You know, one of them things where, like, if a family member or a patient files a complaint against the hospital, they got to look into that type of stuff, right? Or, you know, if it's oh my gosh, I'm having a brain fart, y'all. A sentinel event. That's what it's called. A sentinel event, whether it was, usually it's like accidental stuff where you accidentally give them the wrong dose of something, or they slip and fall and they hurt their head, or they get out the bed even though they're supposed to be in restraints, or what have you, right? These sentinel events, things that are avoidable, but it does cause like severe injury, if not death. So, they do all that type of investigation. And so Jackie just happens to be the only nurse on the board. Amongst all these other doctors, she's the only nurse. While Melvin just so happens to get fired because his patient turned up dead. Seems like there's a little cause and effect there. So she ends up telling Rudy to rest up and go to Melvin's preliminary hearing tomorrow. And she had Dick to try to get his hands on the autopsy report for Jackie's neighbor. Now, before he leaves, Rudy does try to hint to Bruiser that they need to try to keep this discovery on the low because he don't want to get his baby boo in trouble. But Bruiser literally has the same sentiment that I do about her hiding it, even though it's relevant to the case. You got to start looking at her like, is she finna be like a little mini-me Leo? Like a little Leo Jr.? Or like, what's happening there? Can you really trust her? Do you like who she's becoming? Because if the answer is no, then I say it's about time to give that up. Now, Melvin gets hounded by his lawyer because apparently he's late. He's very late, okay? His hearing is in about 30 minutes, and he's nowhere to be found. You already supposed to be at the courthouse. Where are you? Well, it turns out Melvin is getting dressed in somebody's good old fitting room. But while he's on the phone, we see him checking this timer, right? And I don't know if that was his phone or if that was like a burner phone. But anyway, he's checking his timer on the phone, right? So it turns out that timer is associated with how much oxygen is left in the tank that he has Jackie hooked up to in his trunk. Did y'all hear me? I said he got that lady bound and gagged in his trunk with the oxygen that he's supposed to be using. And I was like, damn, you need oxygen. But I guess, you know, if you in a trunk, you could hypoventilate. You could die of hypoventilation. I don't know, y'all. I ain't been in nobody's trunk, but I just know that if you don't get out in time, it ain't gonna be good. Okay. So this man is bold. He is bold as hell, y'all. He done pulled up to the courthouse with Jackie in the trunk. Now, unbeknownst to him, Leo's hitter, y'all know that lady Jane? She's on the case. Okay, and I thought that she was finna try to go save Jackie because she ended up finding his car in the garage. But y'all, she done popped the trunk. I was like, see, if she would have popped the trunk. Now, granted, well, you know what? I don't know what they would have did with her. So maybe it'd be better if she didn't pop the trunk on this one. So behind somebody's building, Deck ends up meeting up with his doctor friend, okay, who he has to pay to gain the autopsy report. And based off the findings, y'all, she died from heart failure due to a morphine overdose. So heart failure was the primary cause of death, but it was secondary to, it was secondary to the morphine overdose. Yeah. So he immediately tries to call Rudy, right? And by this time, when he get in contact with him, Rudy just so happens to be alone in the elevator with the psychotic killer at the very moment. Y'all, him and Melvin are in this elevator, and thankfully, he didn't have Deck on speaker. Thankfully, if he had his Bluetooth in, like his volume went all the way up, because it might have been lights out for our boy Rudy. Now, Rudy ain't know what to expect, but Melvin ends up asking him, why you keep following me? He was like, what are you talking about? I told you that I was here because, something that happened at the hospital, and I think, you might have a similar case or something like that. And so he was like, I'm just trying to see where we need to go from here. And so he was like, okay, well, the fire. Somebody killed my mama. Did you kill my mama? And Rudy was like, what? Like, why would you ask me that? Of course I didn't kill your mom. And so he was like, okay, I believe you. You telling the truth. And with that, y'all, he ends up stepping off the elevator. And so Rudy ended up telling the crew about the odd exchange between the two of them. Y'all, while Melvin ends up going to go check on his hostage in the trunk. The court thing happens. We don't see what comes of it. But just know after court, Melvin goes to go check on Jackie. Now, he ends up getting in the car and he drives away. And of course, Leo's hitter, Investigator Jane, is still following him. But she ain't really got her spotty senses going off right now. And I'm like, girl, what is taking so long for you to have a call of action? What is happening here? Are you supposed to be like hands off? Like, do you have somebody that you can call to be an enforcer? Because you're not moving fast enough for me. So back at the office, Rudy is trying to convince them that it's time to call the law. We need to go ahead and call in people because this ain't looking good. Jackie done went missing. Melvin is out here looking crazy. We clearly have people with testimony that they saw him, talking about the Donnie's neighbor while he was in the hospital, the little boy who had one of his balls removed, him. He gave us testimony that he saw him inject something into the IV, and they was like, yeah, but he was under anesthesia. And so then he had said something else. And I was like, well, we don't know where she at. We can't find her. We don't know if Melvin is culpable, and we don't know who killed his mama just yet. So there's no way for him to have enough evidence to present this as, like a good, legit argument. It's just not enough just yet. Okay, so now they have no other choice but to try to file a discovery request for that daggone tissue committee. This is not what Rudy wanted at all. It seems like they might be headed for a breakup pretty soon. Now, Melvin takes Jackie back to the campsite, and he is really finna get ready to do her in, y'all, if she don't tell him the truth. And so she ended up finally blurting out that she told the committee. Because he was like, girl, I'm going to ask you one more time. I'm not going to ask you no more. Who did you tell about me? And she was like, okay. I told the committee, but they didn't believe me no way. So whatever I said, it doesn't matter. And so we find out that she was fired. She assumes that she was fired because of her trying to report to Melvin. But we know that they probably let her go because they wanted to get ahead of that part as far as the cover up, right? So, when she told him that, y'all, if y'all could see the look on his face, y'all could definitely tell like his wheels was spinning in his head like, damn, Now I'm going to have to knock off 11 more people. That's how crazy this man is. He's off his rocker. So he she said that she had the file, right? I've got the file. And so just when it looks like she's gonna get ready to be done in, y'all, he hear a noise. And so he turned around and he hear another noise. And so he tell her to be quiet. And he's got this needle full of whatever, right? I'm assuming it's like a lethal dose of whatever drug he gave her earlier. And so he opened up the door real quick, and of course, there's Investigator Jane there, and he ends up jabbing her with this needle. And so we see blood, or you know what? I think it might have been a scalpel. Let me not say it was a needle. It was something sharp because she started bleeding. So, excuse me, y'all. I believe it was a scalpel. So just then, he heard another noise, right? And so he steps outside to see if anybody else came with her, and I don't think it was. Maybe, it might have been an animal or something like that. But either way, he's highly paranoid and suspicious at this point. So he steps outside, and this gives Jackie a good enough chance to run out the back door. So she take off, right? And y'all remember when he gets into these exercise induced oxygen depleted situations, he starts struggling and gasping for air, y'all. So he's like, Jackie, 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 slow down, girl, Jackie. So he's yelling in the woods, y'all. And so Jackie seemed like she done got away from him pretty good because he had slowed down, right? Because he can't breathe. And so, y'all, of course, she made the fatal mistake of tripping. She tripped over her own foot, y'all, fell, and she took forever to get up. Now, granted, she was zip tied at the hands, but no, never mind, okay? When your adrenaline is pumping, you gonna find a way to get up, whether you gotta roll and you gotta do one of them Scotty Too Hotty, worm jumps or something like that. I don't know. You gonna find a way to get up and start running again. But no. Okay. Apparently he had regained his lung capacity, and he was able to track her down just as she's looking over, and she spots old Investigator Jane posted up against the back of a tree. How he didn't see her, I will never know. But her and Jackie made eye contact, okay? But he done yanked her up and took her back to the campsite while Investigator Jane done got in her car, and she done drove herself all the way to the hospital. Y'all, she got there just as Brad was calling, but we'll get back to him. As a matter of fact, let's do him now. So, nope. So Rudy is at the office, and he's talking to Dick, or Dick is finna get ready to go home, and he was like, "Hey man, you want to grab something to eat real quick?" And he was like, "Nah, I'm good. I think I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna wrap it up. It's been a long day." Now Dick can clearly tell that Rudy has a lot on his mind. He's really concerned about his relationship and, the future of it after this happens. And he was like, "Hey man, it's going to be okay. All right. She's a big girl. Whatever comes of this has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. They were in the wrong. They were withholding information. We going to do what we got to do for our client. You fine. You good." And so he was like, "Yeah, you right. It's fine. Okay. I'll see you later." So Rudy ends up going home, right? Meanwhile, over there at Sarah's workplace, she is getting called in. Well, she's in her office and she's thinking really hard about her dilemma. She's wondering if Rudy is gonna do her in or not. Okay, we already know the answer. So she's probably trying to figure out how she finna move after this come out. So Brad comes in and he was like, "Hey man, you good? You okay?" And so she's like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm just..." And so he asked her what's wrong, and she was like, "Oh, nothing." And he was like, "Well, it seems like you was trying to solve a problem looking out the window. I mean, don't get me wrong. I do it sometimes too. It can be therapeutic. It can help you work through your problem. So what's going on?" And she was like, "Oh, nothing. I'm okay." And so he was like, "Okay, well, are you sure? Because usually, I mean, when I was new to the law firm, I had a whole bunch of questions. You don't have any questions to ask me? Because, I mean, Leo wants you to be my mentee, so you can ask me anything." And so she ends up asking him what's going on with Investigator Jane. And he was like, I mean, she do background checks. She get information on the ops, whether it's the defendant, the team, whatever we need her to do, she's our fixer. She does all the things for us. And so then he ended up asking her, was there anything else? And she was like, nah, I'm good. I've been working on those deposition questions for you. So I'll have those to you by the end of the day. He did try to bring up a sore subject with Rudy. He had asked her about if she had heard anything else after Rudy had talked to his mom. And so he was like, man, that was pretty rough back there, when we had to tell her that he was no longer working here, because if that was my mama and she found out that I had lied to her, man, she would have whooped my ass. That's what he said, not me. And so she heard up and changed the subject and started asking about Investigator Jane. Okay, you're not making this no better for me. So he ended up leaving, right? Well, they end up getting called into the office because Leo finally gets the deposition or the discovery request, for the tissue committee. And so he's looking at her like, now what the hell you don't run your mouth to your boyfriend about? And so she was swearing up and down that she didn't do it. He can see right through her lie. And so he told Brad to end up handling it, right? And so she basically knows that her time is limited. And so she keeps swearing up and down it's not her. And he was like, oh, okay, you say it wasn't you? Because I sure didn't hear no denials in that. You just keep saying that it wasn't you. So he was like, okay, since it's not you, then you got to find me who did it then. Who leaked that information? Because there's no way that they would have gotten that. And so she tried to play it like if it's relevant information, they have every right to know that, whether it's right or wrong. And so he was like, well, how would you know that? So like I said, he can see right through her. So he tells Brad to get on it, figure it out. And so she ends up seeing him in the hallway. And again, they have an argument about it. So after she storms off, he gets on the phone and he tries to call Investigator Jane, but Investigator Jane is just not pulling up to the hospital, y'all. She can't even answer the phone because she is knocking on death's door, y'all. She is turning colors. Okay, the color is fading. So she manages to step out of the car and she collapses on the ground. Now, thankfully, it was people out there having that little smoke break or what have you, or that little vape session. Having a little chat or two, catching up with some coffee and donuts. So she might make it through. I wonder if she's gonna tell them about what she saw in the woods. We'll see. So Rudy ends up, he don't go home just yet. He actually goes over to Sarah's house. And so by the time she get there, he's standing there waiting to see if she's willing to talk to him. And so of course she's pissed at him and she was like, we ain't got nothing to discuss. I clearly see where you stand. And she was like, you stupid, because you should have took that settlement when you had the chance, because there's no way in hell that you're going to win this case. You can see yourself out of my house. I mean, and with that, really, Rudy, that's all you need to know about her. That's all you need to hear. And she tried to say that his flaws are showing. Okay. He's very arrogant and very intelligent, but yet very arrogant. So you gonna do what you want to do, Rudy. She gonna do what she want to do. Y'all might as well just go ahead and call it quits now. And that's okay. So he heads home and he sees he sees Kelly. Right? And so again, she thanks him for the other day and being concerned about her. And so when she gets to her house, y'all, of course, she calls out to see if Cliff is there. Now, usually Cliff works and she usually tries to beat him home. Well, that one time in that one episode, he had beat her to the punch, right? But she ended up excusing herself to go to the bathroom to freshen up before, they tried to play in the sheets or whatever. And this is when we saw her tuck her money, right, in the hiding spot at first. Well, she calls out for him this go round when she gets home and he does not answer. But when she goes to go hide her money that I think she was stashing away so she could try to, get away from him. When she goes to hide her money in the tampon box, in the bathroom, in the trash bin, it's in a really good hiding spot. It's like a Russian nest doll or something like that. Russian nesting dolls. So She goes to hide the money. And y'all, when she opens the box up, the box is empty. So she starts to panic. And at that point, when I tell you, my intestines would have fell out of my butthole, because she knows that he knows what she's been doing. So she tries to hurry up and leave. But by the time she opened up that bathroom door, y'all, he is standing there at the door. And that's the way the episode ends. I really hope that she make it out okay. I mean, yeah, he probably gonna beat her. And, hopefully he just, worst case scenario, he sends her to the hospital and she's able to file a report and get away from him. But we know it's not that easy. We know it's not. So I just hope that she comes out of this alive at the minimum. Okay. But that's it, y'all. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about it. It was a really good episode. I did enjoy it. Y'all think Jackie gonna be okay? I don't know. Now, I know there's a movie that came out a long, long, long time ago that's got, like, I believe Mark Wahlberg or somebody in it. But I didn't see that. And I'm not going to watch it, because if it's anything like the TV show, I don't want to get any spoilers. So we'll see. But anyway, y'all let me know what y'all thought about it, okay? You can reach me at Me and You TV Reviews on Facebook and on Instagram. You can also reach me at My TV Reviews Podcast without the S on the end at gmail.com. I love y'all, okay? I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Y'all, please stay safe out there, however you decide to celebrate your weekend. And until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I will talk. Oh, hey. Hey, y'all. Before y'all go, for the people that have been looking at my videos on YouTube, okay, because I am being more I'm being more active over there now. I'm trying to be more consistent with dropping the podcast episodes over there. So if you just happen to be listening on YouTube, um you can always come to the podcast if you have like a streaming music service and get the episodes a lot earlier. Because as much as I try to stay consistent, I do fall behind like a week or maybe two, or I'll post them later on in the week. So if you want something like right away, just come on over to the podcast, okay? I love y'all. Y'all stay safe out there. And until we meet over the airwaves again, I am Mo, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.